Kia ora everyone. I thought I'd explain why I thought it would be a good idea to do some roadblocks, much like the police officers are having roadblocks to hypothetically protect the rest of the country from Auckland's hypothetical COVID cases. So a little bit of a background. The hikoi that is stuck at Mercer is stuck there because they had the right documentation to go past, they had the right to go through, but a white supremacist colluded with the Crown. This white supremacist's name is Hone. Don't be confused, I know it sounds Maori, but Maori people can pretend to be for Maori whilst being an actual white supremacist. They can do that. Yep, it's actually quite possible. Colluded to keep them stuck at the border. Now, the reason why I suggested blocking specifically Mercer and Te Aroha is because the police are already making it an economic nightmare for Auckland, right? It's an economic disaster, the lack of ability to travel freely in and out of Auckland. So they don't want to be perceived as making this worse, right? Perception when you have a left-wing government and perception of doing a good job is very important for left-wing governments, because if they look really bad, they get really hung up on that. So what I thought would be a good idea is to block all the traffic from getting in to Auckland from one end and block all of the traffic from getting into Auckland from another end, and leave it up to the police as to when that stops. Now, how effective that goes all depends on numbers, you see. If you get numbers there, it works, and the police start having to have conversations amongst themselves as to whether they should carry on this little cat and mouse game, yeah? Because the police are desperate to win this one. They've put all this effort into putting all this suffering onto women, men, and children at this roadblock for no reason for the last 3 days. And they want to feel like there was a reason for them doing this to people, you know? That they maintain the integrity of their borders that they've been set to man, and they never back down. You see, if they back down, it was pointless doing this right from the start. This is why I think it was a strategic mistake to do what the police say and move off the motorway. You know, in future, if this is planned, I think a good idea would be to take some cones, have safety in mind, make sure that cars that are coming up know that they're not going to get through. Maybe even making sure that the tail end of your convoy is at a place where people can get off and detour around if they so choose and go for another roadblock. But, you know, make it really, really difficult so the police come to the conclusion that the best way to end this standoff is to allow those people who had the right to pass through to pass through. So, if you are in Auckland and you're bored, because you're probably bored, head to the Mercer checkpoint if that's your closest checkpoint. If it's not, head to the Te Aroha checkpoint. And if you don't want to do either of those things, that's fine. It's your choice after all. I may think of myself as a rangatira, but I certainly don't have authority over anyone else. Everything that you choose to do is your choice. Ka kite.